going to do the concept of length contraction and time dilation. So firstly, I have Lorentz transformation. These are the Lorentz transformations that I have written. And in the reverse case, we will have x is equal to gamma times x prime plus v into t prime. And y will be equal to y prime, z will be equal to z prime, and t will be equal to t prime plus v x prime by c square times gamma. Now we are going to start the concept of length contraction. So the main idea is that, for example, if you have this object, so this object has a certain length. Now this object is at rest with respect to you. So this object is at rest with respect to you. Now whenever you will find out its length, let's say its length comes out to be about 5 centimeters, you can see. When this object is at rest with respect to you, then its length is 5 centimeter. So the length of an object at rest is called as proper length. So when the object is at rest with respect to you and you measure its length, in that case, the length that you measure is called as proper length of the object, and that is denoted by L0. So this is the length of the object when it is at rest with respect to you, or you can say in the frame of reference of the object. In the frame of reference of this object, its length is equal to 5 centimeter. Now when this object starts moving with a certain velocity, what happens to its length? So when the object starts moving with a certain velocity, or you start moving with a certain velocity with respect to the object, so both are the same things, just the viewpoint is different. So if the object starts moving or you start moving with respect to the object, so both are the same things. So whatever the case, we know that the object is moving. So the object is moving with respect to you. So when the object is moving with respect to you, its length gets contracted. The length that you calculate in that case will be less than its proper length. So when the object is at rest like this, this object is at rest, its length is 5 centimeters. But when this object starts moving like this, when this object starts moving in this manner, in that case the length that you will calculate will be less than 5 centimeters. But in actual, you can see that its length over here remains 5 centimeter when it is moving. So you can see that there is no change in its length. Its length is 5 centimeter only when it is moving. So this is when the velocity is very less as compared to the speed of light. When the velocity of the object is very less than the velocity of the speed of light, in that case there is no change in the length of the object. There is no observable change. So you cannot observe the difference in the length. So if the proper length of this object is 5 centimeter, then if it starts moving with a certain velocity, so you see that its length is 5 centimeter only when it is moving. So this length contraction is not observed in the non-relativistic region. Although there is a length contraction in that case, but that is very less. So that cannot be observed. But when the velocity of the object approaches to the speed of light, when it comes in the relativistic region, when the velocity of this object will be approaching the speed of light, in that case the length contraction will be observed. It will be observable. So length will be, in that case, the length will be less than the proper length of the object. So let's say if this object is at rest, in that case its length is 5 centimeter. Now let's say it starts moving with the velocity of 0.7 c. So in that case, when the object starts moving with this much velocity and you are observing the same object which is moving with the 0.7 c velocity, then if you will calculate the velocity of this moving object, in that case its length will be contracted. It will be less than the proper length. It will be less than 5 centimeters. So this is the concept of length contraction, and now we are going to derive the formula of length contraction, that is by what factor the length decreases. As we are saying that when the object is moving, its length gets contracted with respect to u. So now we are going to find that by what factor the length gets decreased. It gets contracted. Now the first concept that you have to keep in mind, that when this object is at rest, when this rod, or you can say this patch, is at rest, in that case, how do you measure its length? How do you measure its length? You find this coordinate. Let's say this is the x-axis. So you find x1, you find x2, and you subtract these two coordinates. So that will give you the length of this object. So let's say x1 is equal to 17 centimeters and x2 is equal to 22 centimeters. So when you will subtract these two coordinates, you will get 5 centimeters. So this is how we measure the length. But this measurement of the length is possible. This measurement is true. This is correct when the object is at rest. So you can measure this coordinate, and after some time you will measure this coordinate, and then you will subtract, because these two coordinates are not changing with respect to time. So with time, these two coordinates are the same. So this is 17, this is 22. So we are talking about the object at rest with respect to u. So when this object is at rest like this with respect to u, so x1 and x2, they are independent of time. They do not change with time. So this will remain 17 centimeter always, and this will remain 22 centimeters always. So the length of the object in your frame of reference, that will be equal to 5 centimeters. Or you can say in the frame of reference of this object. So that will remain 5 centimeters only. Now when this object starts moving, so let's say this object starts moving in this direction. Now how do you measure the length? So in this case also you find this coordinate and this coordinate, and then you subtract both the coordinates. When the object is moving, how do you find the length? In this case also you find this x1 prime and x2 prime. So now I am talking about primed variables because I am talking about a moving frame. So this will be x1 prime and this will be x2 prime in this case. In this case, the x1 prime and x2 prime, they are not independent of time. They are dependent upon time, as you can see that as time is passing, the x1 prime is changing and x2 prime is also changing with time. So these x1 prime and x2 prime must be taken at the same time. x1 prime and x2 prime must be measured at the same time. Only then the subtraction of these two variables will give me the length of the object. So if this object is moving in this manner, so first of all you will find this coordinate, and then you will find this coordinate, the second coordinate, and then you will subtract these two coordinates, and that will give me the length of the object. And these two measurements of x1 prime and x2 prime in a moving object, these two measurements must be taken at the same time. So it can be taken, they must be taken at the same instant of time. Because let's say if you take the measurement at one time, so let's say this object is moving in this direction. So let's say if you take the measurement of this coordinate at one particular time and you find out that it is 17 centimeters over here, and the object keeps on moving in this direction because we are talking about a moving object. Now if at a later time you find the x1 prime coordinate, then it will come out to be something else. Let's say it will come out to be 9 because the object is moving. So earlier it was 17 centimeters. Now the another coordinate x1 prime is 9 centimeters because you are taking the measurement of the coordinates at different times. Therefore you get a 17 centimeter over here and 9 centimeter of the another coordinate. And subtraction of these two coordinates will not give you the correct results. Therefore, in a moving object, when the object is moving, both the coordinates must be measured at the same instant of time. So let's say this object is moving, then you are measuring this coordinate, the second coordinate you are measuring at it, and it is 17 centimeters. The other one is 12.5, something like 12.5 centimeters. So these two coordinates must be measured at the same instant of time when the object is moving. Only then the subtraction of the two coordinates will give me the correct length. So the t prime, so this is a moving object. So the time coordinate t1 prime, so let's say the first coordinate is taken at t1 prime time and another coordinate is measured. So let's say x1 prime is measured at t1 prime. The x1 prime is measured at t1 prime and x2 prime coordinate, the second coordinate, is measured at t2 prime. So t1 prime must be equal to t2 prime, means x1 prime and x2 prime must be measured. These two coordinates must be measured at the same instant of time in a moving frame. So I have used a prime over here, means I am talking about a moving object. So when the object is at rest, like this, when the object is at rest, in that case you can take this coordinate and this coordinate at any instant of time. So you can take this at one time and this coordinate you can measure at another time. So there will be no error in that case because this object is stationary. So this coordinate is always 13 and this will be 18 if this object is stationary with respect to you, and subtraction of these two coordinates will give me the proper length. But when this object starts moving like this, in that case these two coordinates must be measured at same instant of time, only then it will give me the correct length. So t1 prime and t2 prime must be equal. So over here, when the object is stationary, let's say the first coordinate is x1 and the second coordinate measured is x2. But in a moving frame, when the object is moving, in that case, when the object is moving like this, in that case the first coordinate is x1 prime and another is x2 prime, and these two coordinates, they are taken at same instant. So t1 prime is equal to t2 prime and let's say that is equal to t prime. So these two measurements must be taken at the same time. So it is not a requirement that x1 and x2 should be taken at the same time. So they can be taken at the different times. But t1 prime and t2 prime must be equal because when the object is moving, these two measurements must be taken at the same time. So over here I am going to use the reverse Lorentz transformation equation, the first equation over here. Now I am going to relate the two lengths. The first length, which is x1 minus x2, or you can say x2 minus x1. So this is the proper length. This is the length of the object when it is stationary with respect to you. So this is the proper length of the object. So x2 minus x1 will be equal to L0, and x2 prime minus x1 prime, x2 prime minus x1 prime, this will be the length of the object in a moving frame. So x2 prime minus x1 prime, let's say that is equal to L prime, and L0 is the proper length and that is x2 minus x1. Now when this object is at rest with respect to you, so let's say if we have, as we have already seen, that let's say this is you and you are at rest with respect to object. So according to you, you will measure the first coordinate, let's say that is x1, and another coordinate, let's say that is x2, and you will subtract these two coordinates. That will give you the length of the object in your frame, and that will be the proper length because the object is stationary with respect to you. So according to you, the first equation will be, according to you, the first coordinate, let's say we are talking about x1 coordinate. So instead of x, I am writing x1. So I am talking about the first coordinate x1. So x1 will be equal to gamma times, instead of x prime, we will have x1 prime now. So we are talking about x1 and x1 prime. x1 prime is the measurement of this same point with respect to your friend who is moving with velocity v. So your friend is moving with velocity v in this direction. So according to him, the x1 prime coordinate will be different. The x coordinate according to your friend will be different and according to you will be different. So let's say according to you it is x1. According to you this point is x1, and according to your friend who is constantly moving in this direction, according to him this distance will be x1 prime. So x1 prime plus v, which is the velocity of your friend, or you can say the velocity of this object with respect to friend. So v is the velocity of your friend with respect to you. But if you take the frame of reference of your friend only, so your friend was moving in this direction, but if you take the frame of reference of your friend, according to your friend the object will be moving like this. The object will be moving closer to him. So in the frame of reference of your friend, the object will be moving in this direction. So it will be moving in this direction. So in actual practice what is happening, that this is an object and you are stationary with respect to object. You are stationary with respect to object and your friend is moving in this direction. But according to your friend, what will happen? According to your friend, the rod will be moving. This object will be moving in this direction. So that is the velocity of the rod, you can say, or the velocity of your friend with respect to you. So that is equal to v. And instead of t prime, we will have t1 prime. So t1 prime is the time at which x1 prime is measured. t1 prime is the time at which this coordinate is measured with respect to your friend, because we are talking about the primed frame. So with respect to friend, according to your friend, this will be x1 prime and this will be measured at t1 prime. So as we have said that x1 prime is measured at t1 prime. So your friend will measure this coordinate as x1 prime and he will measure it at t1 prime. Now we will write the same equation for x2 also, the second coordinate of the object. So second coordinate is x2. So x2 is this x2. Now the x2 is the coordinate of this point, the x coordinate of this point with respect to you. So that will give you x2. So that will give you x2, the coordinate of this point with respect to you. So this will be equal to gamma times x2 prime. Since your friend is moving in this direction, the x2 prime, the coordinate of this point, the x coordinate of this point with respect to friend will be changing with time. So that we have represented by x2 prime plus v into t2 prime. So t2 prime is the time at which the second coordinate is measured with respect to friend. So t2 prime is the time at which the second coordinate x2 prime is measured with respect to your friend. Now as we have said that x2 prime minus x1 prime will give us the length of the object in a moving frame only when t1 prime is equal to t2 prime. So these 2 points, the coordinates of these 2 points must be measured at the same time with respect to your friend, because your friend is moving continuously like this. So he must measure the 2 coordinates at the same instant. Only then the subtraction of these 2 coordinates will give us the correct length of the object. So t1 prime must be equal to t2 prime. So t1 prime must be equal to t2 prime. So let's write it as just t prime. Now I will subtract these 2 equations and I will get x2 minus x1. So I am subtracting this equation from the second equation. So x2 minus x1 is equal to, gamma can be taken common. So vt prime minus vt prime, that will be equal to 0. And x2 prime minus x1 prime will remain as it is. Now x2 minus x1, this is the proper length of the object. So this is the length of the object when the object is at rest, and that is denoted by L0. So this is the proper length. So this is denoted by L0, and that will be equal to gamma times x2 prime minus x1 prime. So this is the length of the object which is measured in a moving frame. x2 prime minus x1 prime is the length of the object which is measured with respect to your friend. So according to your friend, the length of the object will be x2 prime minus x1 prime. So let's denote it by L prime. So L prime is the length which is measured by your friend in his frame, and L0 is the length of the object measured by you in your frame. And keep in mind that the object is stationary with respect to you. So x2 prime minus x1 prime will be denoted by L prime. So from here, the length of the object in a moving frame, the length of the object when it is moving, when you will measure the length of this moving object, that is L prime, it will be equal to L0 divided by gamma. So L0 is the length of the object when it is at rest. So like this, when this object is at rest, you will measure this coordinate and this coordinate, subtract these two coordinates, you will get the length of this object, and that is called as the proper length. And L prime is the length of the same object when it is moving. When it is moving like this. So that is L prime. So this is the length of the object which is measured when it is moving with respect to you. So from here you can see that L prime is given by L0 divided by gamma. Now gamma, as we have said, that gamma is always greater than 1 for any object. For any object, gamma is always greater than 1. For any object that has a certain mass, its value of gamma will be always greater than 1 because its velocity will always be less than c. As the velocity of an object cannot be greater than c, so it will always be less than c. In that case, gamma will always be greater than 1. So if gamma is greater than 1, if this denominator is greater than 1, means L prime will always be less than L0. L prime will always be less than L0. Means the length of the object when it is moving, when you measure the length of any object when it is moving, it will be always less than its proper length. So it will be always less than its length when it is stationary. So L0 is the proper length of the object when it is at rest. And L prime is the length of the object measured when it is moving. And we have seen that L prime is equal to L0 divided by gamma. So this is how the proper length and the length when the object is moving, they are related with each other. So L prime is less than L0. It will be always less than L0, means whenever the object is moving, its length gets contracted, its length gets shortened by a factor of gamma. The next we are going to do the concept of time dilation. So the basic idea is that the time gets dilated in a moving frame. As we have said in the case of length contraction, that in a moving frame, or when the object is moving, you can say that when the object is moving with respect to you, its length gets contracted. The length that you measure will be less than its proper length. So when the object is moving with respect to you, its length decreases than its proper length. So proper length is the length when the object is at rest, the length that you measure when the object is at rest with respect to you. So that is the proper length. So length gets decreased, it gets contracted when the object is moving. Now we have the concept of time dilation. So in time dilation, if you calculate, if you measure the time interval between two events, let's say two events are happening, and you measure the time difference between those two events. So let's say if the two events are occurring with a time interval of 1 second. Let's say these two events, they are occurring at the same point. Let's say the two events, they are occurring at the same points. So let's say this is you and this is some source. And this source is emitting the photons. So let's consider, this is just an example that I am giving to you so that you understand it in a better way, that let's say there is a source and this source is continuously emitting the photons. Now I am just considering that these photons which are emitted by this source, they are emitted at a time interval of 1 second. With the time gap of 1 second, every photon is emitted. So this is just I am supposing to make you understand. So let's say this object is present over here. This this source is present over here. Now this source emits one photon. Let's say it emits one photon. So this is one event which is occurring, and after 1 second this source will emit another photon, so that will be the another second event. So between these two events which are occurring at the same point, so they are occurring at the same point, the difference between the two events, let's say that is equal to 1 second. So this is when you are at rest with respect to the source. So the two events are occurring at the same point. These two events, the emission of these two photons for example, these are occurring at the same point with respect to you. So according to you, the time gap between the two events, is 1 second, let's say. But when you will observe the same thing from a moving frame, so when you will observe the same source which is emitting the photons with a moving frame, so let's say your friend is moving with respect to you, so when your friend will observe the same events, according to him, the time gap will be greater than 1 second. According to your friend, the time gap between the two events will be greater. Means for those two events to occur, the time which has elapsed is more. More time is taken for the two events to occur. But with respect to you, when the source is at rest with respect to you, means two events are occurring at the same points with respect to you, and your friend is moving with velocity v in this direction. So according to you, these two events are occurring at the same point, and according to you, let's say the time difference between the two photons which are emitted, that is equal to 1 second. So the time interval is 1 second according to you. But according to your friend, when he is moving in this direction, when he calculates the time difference between the same two events, he will calculate it greater than 1 second. The time difference that he will calculate will always be greater than 1 second. So the time has dilated, means for the same two events, now the time taken is more in a moving frame. So in a moving frame, for the same two events to occur, the time that has elapsed is more. So therefore we say that time slows down in a moving frame. In a moving frame of reference, the time slows down. So according to your friend, for the same two events, the time taken will be greater than 1 second. So according to him, more time is taken between the same two events. But according to you, it will be 1 second. But according to your friend, it will be greater than 1 second. So this is the concept of time dilation, that in a moving frame, like your friend is moving, in a moving frame, or that is according to your friend, the time has slowed down. The time has slowed down. So for the same two events, the time which is taken is greater as compared to the time which you calculate when the source is stationary with respect to you. So now we are going to calculate the formula of time dilation, that is by what amount the time gets dilated, by what amount times slow down in a moving frame. So in this case we will use this equation. In the case of length contraction, we have used the reverse Lorentz transformation equation, but in this case we use this equation, that is T prime is equal to gamma times T minus Vx by c square. Because in this case, x will be the same. The coordinate x is the coordinate of the two events with respect to you. With respect to the sigma frame, the coordinate is the same. So x will be the same for the two events with respect to the sigma frame. With respect to you, the coordinates of the two events occurring will be the same. So x1 will be equal to x2 in this case. Therefore, those terms will cancel with each other, and we are going to see that how they will cancel. So we are going to use this equation. Now, if you take yourself into account, if you take the sigma frame, you are stationary with respect to this source, and the two events which are occurring. So let's say this source emits one photon at t1 time, and the same source emits another photon at t2 time. Now the source is present at the same position with respect to you. So x1 will be equal to x2. So let's say at t1, x1 is the coordinate of this source, and at t2 time, when the second event occurs at t2 time, at that time x2 is the coordinate of this source, and we know that according to you are at rest, so x1 will be equal to x2. So you are at rest with respect to the source, so with time the x coordinate will not change. So x1 will be equal to x2, and t1 is the time at which the first photon is emitted, or you can say the first event occurs. So it can be any event. I have taken photon as an example over here. So the first photon is emitted at t1 time and second is emitted at t2 time. And let's say at t1 x1 is the position of the source, and at t2 x2 is the position of the source, and in your frame x1 will be equal to x2. Now if we observe the same thing from the point of view of your friend, that is from the sigma prime. So now your friend is moving in this direction, so x1 prime and x2 prime, they will not remain the same. So the object will be moving. So according to your friend, the object will be moving in this direction. So according to you, your friend is moving in this direction, but according to your friend, the object is moving closer to him. So according to your friend, or you can say in the sigma prime frame, in the moving frame, let's say the time at which the first event occurs is t1 prime. So t1 is the time of the first event with respect to you, but t1 prime is the time of the same event with respect to your friend. And similarly, t2 was the time of the second event with respect to you, but t2 prime is the time of the same second event with respect to your friend. And as you can see that when your friend is moving in this direction, so the x prime distance, the distance of the object from the origin, is changing with time. So let's say at t1 prime, when this first event occurred, at that time the x coordinate was x1 prime with respect to your friend. So according to your friend, the source was at x1 prime distance from its origin, and the event occurred at t1 prime. So at t1 prime, x1 prime was the position of the source with respect to the origin of your friend, or you can say the sigma prime. And at t2 prime, x2 prime was the position. So with time, your friend is moving in this direction, so with time the position of the source is changing with respect to your friend. So at t2 prime, that is at another time when the second event occurred at t2 prime in sigma prime frame, in that case the position of the object was x2 prime. So what will be this equation? So firstly we are talking about the first event, so event 1. So for the first event, we will have t1 prime. Instead of t prime, we will have t1 prime, and that will be equal to gamma times, instead of t, we will have t1. So this is the time of the first event with respect to you. So t1 is the time with respect to you, minus v by c square as it is, times x. So x is the coordinate with respect to you, or with respect to the sigma frame. So that is x. But in this case, at t1 time we have said that x is equal to x1. So it will be x1 in this case. Similarly, we will write down the equation for the second event. So for second event t2 prime, we will have t2 prime, and that will be gamma times t2 minus v by c square times x2. So instead of x, I will have x2. Now when I will subtract these two equations, over here we know that x1 is equal to x2, because the source is at rest, or you can say the two events which are occurring, they are occurring at the same position with respect to the sigma frame. So x1 will be equal to x2, and when you will subtract these two equations, this term will cancel with this term. So what you will have t2 prime minus t1 prime. When you will subtract these two equations, you will have t2 prime minus t1 prime. It will be equal to gamma as it is times t2 minus t1. Now t2 prime minus t1 prime. T2 prime is the time of the second event with respect to your friend, or you can say with respect to sigma prime frame, and t1 prime is the time of the first event with respect to your friend or the sigma prime frame. So t2 prime minus t1 prime will give me the time difference between the two events. t2 prime minus t1 prime will give me the time difference between the two events with respect to sigma prime, with respect to your friend. So let's say t2 prime minus t1 prime, let's denote it by tau prime. So tau prime is the interval between the two events with respect to a moving frame, that is your friend or the sigma prime frame. So tau prime is the time interval between the two events with respect to a moving frame, that is equal to gamma times t2 minus t1. So t2 minus t1 is the time interval between the same two events with respect to a stationary frame, or you can say with respect to you. So you are at rest with respect to these two events. So these two events are occurring at the same position with respect to you. So t2 minus t1 will give me the time interval between these two events with respect to a stationary frame. So let's denote it by tau or tau 0. So t2 minus t1, this is the time between the two events with respect to a stationary frame. So from here you can see that tau prime is the time interval between two events in a moving frame, and tau 0 is the time interval between the two events in a stationary frame. So you can see that tau prime has come out to be gamma times tau 0, and we know that gamma is always greater than 1. Therefore, tau prime will always be greater than tau 0. So in the case of length contraction, we have found that length in a moving frame comes out to be less than the proper length. But in the case of time interval between the two events, we have seen that tau prime, the time interval between the two events in a moving frame will always be greater than the time interval between the same two events when they are stationary, when they are observed with respect to a stationary frame of reference. So it will always be greater. So if you observe the time interval between these two events, let's say it comes out to be 1 second. So if it will be 1 second over here, if you will insert 1 second over here, which is the time with respect to a stationary frame, the time interval with respect to a stationary frame, so you will insert 1 second over here. So 1 second times gamma, and gamma is always greater than 1, so it will come out to be, tau prime will come out to be greater than 1 second. So when your friend will observe the time interval between the same two events, your friend is moving with respect to you, so when your friend will observe the time interval between the same two events, he will observe that it is greater than 1 second, and it will be greater than this 1 second by a factor of gamma. So according to him, between the same two events, the time has increased. So according to him, more time is taken between two events, and according to you, when the events are occurring at the same point with respect to you, in that case the time which is occurring is less, and that is 1 second. Let's suppose if it is 1 second, then according to your friend it will be greater than 1 second. This is the concept of length contraction and time dilation, how the length and the time interval changes in a moving frame of reference. And in the next lecture we will start to discuss about the topic of transformation of electric field. So there we will use these concepts of length contraction and time dilation. There's one more concept that you must note in the case of length contraction, is that the length of the object in the direction perpendicular to the direction of the velocity remains the same. The length of the object, as we have said, that the length of the object gets contracted, it decreases in the direction of the motion of the object, as we have seen that with respect to the sigma prime frame. With respect to the sigma prime frame, this object, this rod was moving in this direction. So with respect to the sigma prime frame, this rod was moving in this direction, means it was moving in the x-axis, in this horizontal direction. So only the length of the object in the horizontal direction will get contracted with respect to the sigma prime frame. So in that case, the length of this object will get contracted. That is, this length will get contracted. But the length in the perpendicular direction, this length or along the z-axis. So this is the length along the y-axis, and there will be a thickness along the z-axis also. So those two lengths will not change because they are perpendicular to the motion of the object. As we have seen the reverse Lorentz transformation equations, x is equal to x prime plus v into t prime times gamma, and y was equal to y prime and z was equal to z prime. So the length contraction formula we derived from the first equation. So x is the direction in which the object is moving with respect to sigma prime frame. But if we take into account the y and the z coordinates, so we will see that from the first equation, let's say y1 will be equal to y1 prime and y2 will be equal to y2 prime. From this second equation, we can get these two equations for two different points. So these points are along the y-axis. So when you will subtract these two equations, you will get y2 minus y1 is equal to y2 prime minus y1 prime. Means the length along the y-axis will be equal to, this is the length of the y-axis with respect to sigma frame, because it does not have any prime, and y2 prime minus y1 prime, this is the length along the y-axis with respect to sigma prime, with respect to this frame. So the two lengths both in sigma and sigma prime frame, they will remain the same. And similar is the case with the z-axis. So z2 minus z1 will come out to be z2 prime minus z1 prime. So the length along the z-axis remains the same. So it means that only the length along the x-axis has changed. So the direction in which the object is moving, as with respect to sigma prime frame, the object is moving in this direction. So only the length along the x-axis, only in this direction, the length will get contracted, and in other two directions, the length will remain the same. And let's say now the object is placed in this manner. The object is placed in this manner means now the object is moving in this direction, in the same direction, but the orientation of the object has been changed. So when the object is now moving in this direction like this along this axis, then this length will get contracted because this length of the object is along the velocity of the object. So this length will get contracted by a factor of gamma, whereas this length which is along the y-axis, that will remain the same. Or you can say that now if the object has started moving along the y-axis, if the object has started to move along the y-axis, then this length will get contracted, and the length along this direction, this will remain the same as it is, and the length along the y-axis will get contracted. So in this case, when the object is moving along the y-axis, when it is moving along the y-axis like this, in that case, these transformation equations will change. So in this case, x will be equal to x prime. Now the object is moving along the y-axis, so y will be equal to, now y will be equal to y prime plus vt. So earlier we had this equation, the form of this equation was for the x variable, but now the object, we are supposing that it is moving along the y-axis, therefore we will use this form of equation for the y coordinate. So y prime plus vt prime times gamma, and z will remain the same. So this is how the transformation equation changes as the direction of the velocity of the object changes. So when you will find the length contraction in this case, you will see that length along the y-axis will get contracted and length along the x and z coordinates along the x and z axis will remain the same.